Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the Friar Talk podcast. Today we're going to be grading the 2021 San Diego Padres starting rotation. Not a lot to talk about right now on Padres baseball. Everything's been pretty quiet right now. They're searching for a manager, doing an interview with Mike Schilt in the weekend. So, Chase, let's see what you got. Let's see what you thought about this 2021 rotation. I know there were a lot of highs, a lot of lows for some of these guys, but let's hear it.
So, in the first half of the year, we had guys performing pretty well. I mean, we had Darvish, who we thought, he's going to be another Cy Young candidate. He looked really good. Uh, Musgrove was looking really good. Paddack had his moments where he looked really good and some really bad moments. Snell started off the year all right. They didn't really hit their groove or Snell didn't really hit his groove until, after Rothschild left. But going name by name, Darvish had a really promising first half, but then the sticky ban hit, and he looked like a complete different pitcher. And we can say it's due to injuries. We can say it's due to the sticky ban substance. But once it was all said and done, I think he had like a 6 to 7 ERA the moment the sticky ban hit for the rest of the year. So he had a really rough year. We're really hoping he picks it back up next year. If I had to give him like a report card grade, I'd probably go a C minus to D because he really let us down the second half of the year. Going to Musgrove, you got to give him an A. He had the breakout year that we all thought he was going to have. He had the first Padres no hitter. He didn't miss a start. He was the only pitcher to not miss a start due to injuries. He even came out of the bullpen one game and threw 5 perfect innings. So you know what? He did his job. Going to Snell, we all thought, why did the Padres make this trade for like at least 2/3 of the season? It felt like first 2/3 of the season we were looking at Snell, and if he wasn't at home, it felt like a guaranteed loss. He was shut out at home, but he had like a 9 ERA on the road. So we're just like, what is going on with this guy? But as soon as Rothschild left, he looked like the old golden 2018 Cy Young Snell. He looked perfect. He was absolutely destroying top tier teams on the road, at home. It didn't matter. So I'll give him a C plus just because he started to turn it around. But he showed that potential, and hopefully he carries it on to next year. I'm probably going to give a C for Paddack just because it looked like he was building his way back up before injury struck. His fastball velocity was back up to what it used to be. His changeup looked good, and his changeup or his curveball looked like a legitimate third pitch. Like there were some times where it was just like, wow, this should be his second. This should be his strikeout pitch. This should be his go-to strikeout pitch. It looked good sometimes. Like it fooled me on the TV. I'm like, wow, I wasn't expecting a curveball out of that pitch. That looked really good. And you can tell some of the hitters were very uncomfortable with it. The only thing is injury struck. There was inconsistency in his game. He didn't strike out a lot of people. Some games he struck out a lot. Other games, his command, his velocity were all kind of inconsistent too. But I feel like when he puts it all together, he would be a really solid 3 starter. And hopefully he builds that up throughout our offseason. Unfortunately for Motorhone, he only pitched, I think, like 1, maybe 2 games. He looked really solid. Hopefully he comes back and has a year. I don't think he's going to be a starting pitcher, but he should be in the bullpen, definitely. Who am I missing? Darvish, Musgrove, Snell, Weathers. Oh, Ryan Weathers. Can't be nice to you, man. You thrived in that bullpen role. Keep it that way. Hopefully the Padres keep it that way for now, just because his baseball savant numbers didn't look good. We all mentioned it, like, hey, if they trade Ryan Weathers, they might be selling him at the right price right now because his baseball savant numbers, it looks like he's outperforming himself by a lot. And as soon as we said that, it seemed like he just went downhill. Like, I think he finished off with over a 5 ERA from the second half of the season. It was brutal to watch him because he would just get shelled for like 6 runs in 3 innings. It was bad. I'm not even going to mention Jake Arrieta. Like, I'm not even getting him a report card grade for that because he shouldn't have even been on the team. That was just a bad signing. Same thing with Vince Velasquez. You know, those guys you signed knowing that you probably weren't going to get their potential, and you didn't. It was just a really bad signing for the Padres. Yeah, you know what? Overall, disappointing season from the starting rotation. The only real bright spot throughout the whole year was Joe Musgrove. So shout out to San Diego kid.
Yeah, so what do you get for not trading for Max Scherzer? You get Jake Arrieta and Vince Velasquez. So one thing I'll say, I'll probably go through all of them as well. Just grading out the rotation as a whole, I'd probably give them a C minus. I kind of feel like that might be a little generous. I know they led the league in ERA at one point, but it wasn't like anything crazy. Most of the time, these guys were coming out of games in like the fifth inning, the fourth inning. Some of them were barely pushing six. So I don't think there was really enough consistency out of the starters to give them more than a C minus, maybe a C. And really the anchor to that grade, because it could be a lot lower, is Joe Musgrove. Joe Musgrove pitched lights out all year. He did have his ups and downs, but for most of the year, he was fantastic. Threw San Diego's first no-hitter. When he was on, I think, we talked about it during the season. When he's on, he's one of the best pitchers in the league. And when he's off, I mean, he's not off for long. A lot of pitchers have those kind of stretches. So Joe Musgrove was the anchor of the starting rotation. He carried us. You could argue he was the team's MVP, even if Fernando ends up being the league MVP, just because how consistent he was on the mound. He started every one of his starts. He came out of the bullpen in one game, and you could definitely make a strong argument, and he could probably be the favorite for the team MVP. Regarding Yu Darvish, oh, by the way, Musgrove is an A+. Darvish, it's hard. I'd probably give him a C, just because C's right in the middle, and right in the middle of the season is when he started falling off. So halfway, he was fantastic. The rest of the half, he was not good at all. I think his last good start that I really remember, other than that Cardinals game, the Diamondbacks game that was on Fox, other than that, it was the June 21st start against the Dodgers. He had a really good start. So kind of middling. It wasn't really what we expected from Darvish, because we traded kind of a lot for him. We thought he'd be fantastic. We thought, halfway through the year he was going to be in the Cy Young running. Didn't end up looking that way. Injuries, time on the IL, mechanical changes, everything, nothing went his way. So and the sticky stuff got banned. So hopefully, over the offseason, he's able to adapt without the sticky stuff. He's able to heal up, but I don't know how optimistic I am, just because he's kind of getting up there in age. I think he'll be 36, something like that. So, only time will tell if he's able to adapt. Blake Snell, you can honestly give him a C also, but I'll give him a C+, just because before he went on the IL for good, it was nasty. That was the best pitching I've seen from any Padre this year. And I know I said Joe Musgrove gets an A+, but this guy threw like 15 hitless innings. So, I mean, there's a lot that you can say about how good he was throughout the year. He was not good throughout the year, but good after the All-Star break. Before the All-Star break, obviously, like Chase mentioned, lots of questions surrounding him, especially considering we traded our second best prospect at that point. I think Luis Patino was. Francisco Mejia was a top prospect as well. Cole Wilcox. Did Wilcox go in that? Cole Wilcox went in that, and we had him highly regarded. So, but Blake Snell looked really good towards the end. Hopefully, he's able to carry that into 2022. Chris Paddack, obviously, you guys know I'm a Paddack truther. I'm going to give him a C-, just because dude was way too inconsistent. Earlier in the year, he sucked. As soon as he started throwing that curveball more, getting a feel for it, things really changed for him. Things started to pick up for him. By no means is he a guy that's going to throw shutout innings for 7 innings, whatever it is. But the way he was pitching, going out there, giving us a solid 5, 6, or 7, allowing around 2 or 3 runs for the most part, I was really happy with the way he was able to bounce back from his really poor 2020 and, a poor beginning to 2021. So he gets a C-. Ryan Weathers, I don't want to be too hard on him, but he deserves an F. He's only 21. So, I'll give him a D- actually, because I feel bad for the F.
I was going to say that was pretty bad. That was worse than me, and I thought I was being hard on him.
Yeah, I felt bad for that because he's only 21. He's our age. So, But I mean, there's a lot of room to improve for him. He's not a bad pitcher by any means. Chase brought up his baseball savant numbers. He's absolutely correct. We should have sold high on him when we had the chance, especially considering what was on the table when we were saying to sell high for him. Matt Scherzer was on the table, potentially Trey Turner in that trade also. So there was a lot on the table considering, I don't know why you kept him if you want to go all in this year. Maybe you just lost the trade. We don't know what really happened. But, Ryan Weathers looked really, really good at the beginning of the year. You kind of think of it like Chris Paddack, his rookie year, looked really, really good. Team started to pick up on him. Team started to rake him. But I don't know if it was to this capacity. So a lot of room to improve for him. Only 21. I think he could be our Josh Hader eventually in the future with his velocity, movement on his ball. I think a good 2-3 inning guy is what we might see out of him in the future. And while he develops as well. I don't even know who else there is. I think I brought up everyone. Vince Velasquez, whatever's lower than an F, he gets that. So does Jake Arrieta. But other than that, like Dinelson Lamet can't get a grade because he only made 1 or 2 starts, I think. Maybe more than that. I don't even remember.
But
he made a few. He was injured.
I think he made like 3 at the beginning, and then he got hurt, and then he tried coming back, and then he made it through like 2 innings and got hurt, and then he was just a bullpen piece. So I was going to mention him, but I was going to say there's not really enough there to give him a proper grade because he dealt with the arm injuries. He kept trying to come back, and they threw him in the bullpen, which is an unfamiliar role to him. So you can't really give him a starting rotation grade or a bullpen grade just because this whole season is kind of an anomaly. I can't even say that word. It was kind of an enigma for him. So anomaly. Yeah, thank you. I can't say that. It's like an enigma for him. So what? Hopefully, he continues to recover in the offseason. Hopefully, it doesn't require Tommy John. Hopefully, if it does require surgery, he doesn't go the PRP route again. We've seen it happen. He tried it the first time. It didn't work. It required Tommy John. We saw Jacob Nix go for it, required Tommy John. It worked the second time, but even then, he hurt his arm at the end of the year. Then I think he went under it a third time this offseason. So it's just one of those things where it's kind of just like delaying the injury. But if he stays in the bullpen, I think he'll be fine. But with that being said, the starting rotation really let us down this year. Whether or not you can attribute it to the sticky ban, to the injuries, they fell apart that second half, and you know what? It killed our playoff chances, along with managerial decisions that will get brought up again over and over again, just because Tingler. But yeah, anything else you guys are?
The starting pitching definitely killed our vibe. They weren't able to go consistent 5 innings, and then every 3 days we had to watch Vince Velasquez and Jake Arrieta. So that wasn't very fun. Other than that, I don't know what they're going to do with Dinelson Lamet. I don't know. I want to keep him. Only time will tell if he's able to stay with the Padres because, unless he's able to get the surgery, I think he's kind of just putting off the inevitable, kind of like what people think Fernando's doing. I kind of think that's just what he's doing, which is it's pretty unfortunate. But next year, hopefully this starting rotation is better. We're going to be getting Mike Clevenger back. That should be a really huge pickup or a really huge addition to the starting rotation. Who knows how many innings he's going to throw when he first comes back? I'd probably assume 4 every 5 days. So I think, being able to get him gradually back into the starting rotation, I think it's going to be very vital for 2022. And I definitely feel like Pillar's got something up his sleeve to go get someone. So, only time will tell. But C- for me for these guys. I forgot what Chase gave them a total grade for. C- also?
Yeah, it's C-. The only real bright spot in that part was Blake Snell's second half and Joe Musgrove. Outside of that, it was pretty disappointing.
I agree. So C- for me, C for Chase. Let us know what you guys think in the comments. Subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and we'll talk to you guys soon.